Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another edition of the Opposition Preview. First things first, guys, make sure you smash the like, subscribe if you're new around here, and as always, leave your thoughts in the comments below. Chelsea got 3 games remaining, starting with Saturday's trip to Nottingham Forest. Haven't actually beaten Forest in our 3 games we've played against them since they got promoted back to the Premier League. So that is a run that needs to be ended. We're enjoying somewhat of a late season resurgence. You know, the top 6 is still very much on, 2 points behind Newcastle, but we are going to require the Magpies to drop some points, and we're going to need to take maximum points to give ourselves any chance of Europa League football. But to discuss the game, delighted to be joined by Wolfie from Forest Fan TV. Mate, great to have you back on. Looking forward to getting stuck into things. Forest, talk to me. It almost feels like, you know, it's not the same season. You know, Steve Cooper was in charge at the start of the season. He was replaced and Nuno's taken over. You know, you're fighting for your lives down near the bottom. Of course, the deduction for the PSR breach hasn't helped matters with that. But yeah, mate, just give me a brief summary of the season so far. What have you made of Nuno since he's come in? Obviously, because I think a lot of Forest fans wanted Cooper gone, and it felt like a natural end there. But what have you felt with Nuno since he's arrived?
So for me, I'd probably say, to be honest, mate, most fans would have still had Cooper in. Not me. He had gone past his footballing sell-by date, if that's such a phrase. He needed to go. You know, was Nuno the right replacement? Well, time will judge that. But we had a small bounce when he came in. We beat Newcastle away at St. James's, beat Man U, and then we got hit with the PSR. Then we got hit with 6 or 7 players going to AFCON. And ever since then, it's just been stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. There's been a couple of little patches where you think, okay, we're onto something here. We beat West Ham comfortably at home, beat Fulham, we beat Sheffield, but who doesn't? You know, well, you guys. Did you beat him at Stamford Bridge?
Yeah, we beat him at Stamford Bridge, yeah.
Okay, fair enough, yeah. 6 free points there, mate. That could cost you top 6 at the end of the season.
Well, no, it will do, quite possibly, yeah.
But yeah, and Burnley as well. But yeah, so like the best way I can describe the season for me is end the damn season, man. I'm done. It's like the stress of this. The best thing we got going for us is the 3 teams that came up are so crap. So if we were gonna mess up our finances or whatever your opinions are on it, this is probably the season to do it. And come this game, Luton and Burnley would have both played before we kick off at 5:30. And if results go our way, then we're done. And I'm done. And I don't really, if that's the scenario, I don't really care what the result of this game is, mate. I'm on the beach and I'm dying to get that vitamin D from the sun, mate.
No, fair enough, mate. Fair enough. I mean, you obviously, like ourselves, sorry, you've bought in a lot of players over the summer and whatnot. Talk to me about some of them. Our old boy Callum Hudson-Odoi, I think, you know, £3 million an absolute steal. He's done very well for you. What have you made of him? And has he, you know, lived up to expectations amongst the Forest fans? He's done better than you guys thought he would. I mean, how's he viewed at Forest?
So for me, Callum Hudson-Odoi is a confidence player. You could tell when he first came in, he was lacking in confidence. He hadn't been playing regularly, especially at you guys and what have you. He'd had the injuries. And then he scored his goal against Burnley quite early doors. It's his trademark special now. Cut in, edge of the box, finesse it, top bins, move on to the next one. And just defenses don't seem to be able to stop that. Weirdly, I would say his best patch of the season was when he was paired up with someone who I don't really rate, Nuno Tavares, the Arsenal fullback. What we found with Tavares was that he's very attacking. He's actually decent going forward and crap at defending. But what he would do, he would create space for Callum Hudson-Odoi by going outside him, because Callum Hudson-Odoi always goes inside. And it would cause a double up on the right back for the opposition. So I've been really impressed with him. When we signed him, I said, even if he flops, it doesn't matter. It's 2.5 going up to 5 mil. It's nothing. It's peanuts in this day and age. So it's worth the punt. But honestly, out of our wingers, he's been my favorite. I've been most impressed with his consistency. I just want him to go outside a bit more, because I think he's becoming a little predictable. I feel like he's got the skill to take on a fullback, and he just prefers to. Sorry, I froze. I'm back. Can you hear me?
All good. Yeah, all good, mate.
Yeah, all good. Apologies. Yeah, so I just want him to do that. But in terms of the players you need to watch out for, I think Murillo, our centre back, the
Big
Brazilian.
fan of him. Well, he's 21. I'd be shocked if he was with you next season, to be brutally honest.
I don't really want to big him up. I'd love to come on here and lie and say how crap he is, just to keep eyes off him. He's unbelievable, man. I think everyone's talking about Braithwaite from Everton and what
Is he
have you.
Brazilian, Murillo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he plays like he's Brazilian. He literally just will dribble the ball out from the back. His recovery pace is ridiculous. He's had like 3 or 4 attempts for some goal of the seasons that have been cleared off the line or just missed. He had an 85-yard shot against Spurs the other week that looked like it was in, and he had Vicario scrambling on his line. So yeah, he does have one weakness for me, is in the air still. He sometimes gets underneath the ball when crosses come in, but he's only 21, and if that's the biggest fault I can find with him, I'm more than happy. But yeah, if Bowley's watching, he's crap. You don't want to go anywhere near him. He would be a perfect replacement for you guys for Silva, to be honest.
He's honestly, because he's the age profile and how he's done. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if he's someone that, you know, has been discussed within the club. Just a couple of others I wanted to go through before we move on, mate. Morgan Gibbs-White done very well last season. Again, I admittedly don't follow Forest that closely. Has he been underwhelming this season?
I wouldn't say underwhelming, but he's a hard one to judge. He's our most talented player. He's the most passionate player, even though he's not even from Nottingham. Obviously, he's from Wolverhampton. And he's the most skillful as well. Sometimes he does too much, but he's usually at the heart of what's good about Forest. And when he's on fire, he will carry that and drag that team with him. One thing he's woeful at is dead balls, like corners. He hits that first man every single time. And like, I literally sent an angry message to the club saying, I'm begging you, yeah, if you don't sign anyone, I don't care. Just take Morgan Gibbs-White off corners. They're that bad. So that has slowly happened. That was a problem under Cooper. It's a problem under Nuno. But in terms of ball play, his passing is lovely. He just needs, sometimes, I think the best way I'd describe him is if he did less, he would end up doing even more on the pitch. That's the thing with me and Morgan Gibbs-White. But I love him. I think he's one of our best players.
Yeah, no, there's definitely players in the Forest team that can hurt Chelsea for sure. He said Hudson-Odoi. I'm a massive fan of Ola Aina. I think he's one of our former old boys. I think he's done very well. You know, got Gibbs-White. Awonyi seems to always score against us. So there are players that can absolutely cause problems. In terms of Forest, then, what are the major differences then from how Steve Cooper had you playing earlier in the season to what Nuno's doing now? I know Nuno's not been here that long, but are there any noticeable difference between how the team's set up and how the team are playing compared to what was happening under Cooper?
Yeah, huge differences. Cooper was all about low block and try and get a counter-attack goal, a bit like we did at Stamford Bridge earlier on this season. It was boring, dead to watch football. It was just doing my head in. Nuno came in, and Cooper was predominantly, he always favoured a back five. It wasn't a back three, it was a back five with Cooper. Nuno's come in and gone 4-2-3-1, and he's like, this is the formation I'm playing. We'll build around it. And I wouldn't say he's gun-ho, and he's not low block. He's kind of somewhere in the middle, more counter-attacking, I'd call it, rather than anything else, especially when you got the pace of Elanga, Hudson-Odoi, Morgan Gibbs-White, etc. It does work quite well. But he's been found out in a few things. His substitutions, I think, have been really poor, too late in matches, sometimes wrong choices happening. The odd time he's done some weird things with selections where he put Niakate, if I remember rightly, at left back against Villa, and he got just destroyed by Leon Bailey. So it's a learning process. If I'm being honest with you, I think the fan opinion on him is quite split. I don't think when you've gone from someone who kind of was able to connect with the fan base the way Cooper did, he would always say the right things, what fans wanted to hear, etc., to Nuno, who's quite pragmatic about his approach. He hasn't, I don't think anyone coming in after Cooper would have got that instant connection with the fan base. There's still people in the fan base that are in mourning that Cooper's gone, you know what I mean? And they'd take him back tomorrow. But I think he needs a summer, a preseason, a transfer window, no PSR over his head, no AFCONs or anything like that. And I think he's going to do absolutely fine. When you look at his track record, everyone goes on about what he did at Spurs.
Mate, he's on the Saudi league. That takes some doing.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. That's a proper, that's more than Poch has got on his CV,
Yeah,
But
mate,
he's
that Al Ittihad Saudi League title that holds weight.
it does indeed, man.
Yeah.
Ronaldo's out there, isn't it? But I always I was looking at his time at Wolves and what he did at Wolves. Got him
Done very
promoted
well there. Really well.
7th, 13th. And that's the kind of standard I want to see from him. Now, I'm in the camp of backing him. I've seen enough in the play style and everything that I like. But I just want to see what he does with the transfer window, and then I'll judge him next season. For me, it's the same as Poch. I think a lot of people, or a lot of Chelsea fans, have jumped too soon on Poch's back, and now you're starting to see a little, fruits of your labor. And when you look at Nuno, he's had even less time than Poch has had, less resources, and his objective is keep Forest up this season. If he does that, then it's been a successful season.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair enough. Before we get into the game, I've got to ask you about your thoughts on the whole refereeing debacle. I know you guys have, banter aside, have been on the receiving end of some dreadful decisions.
Thinkers.
What did you make of the whole Mark Clattenburg situation with the club? Because from the outside looking in, that seems like a little bit of a farce, appointing him as a referee analyst, if I'm correct, and he's obviously subsequently gone. What did you make of that sort of whole situation there? Because I think we all agree that decisions were shocking, and you've been on the receiving end of more than anyone else in the league, pretty much. But what did you make of the whole Clattenburg situation and that appointment from the club? Do you think that was a bit of a strange one and perhaps something that's backfired now?
I was fully against it.
Yeah.
Not because of him. I mean, I've never been a fan of him as a ref anyway. But I didn't. When someone's appointed, I want to understand what their role is. And when he came in, I was like, "What's the referee analysis? Whatever his
No,
title was."
I don't think anyone knew what he was doing. He was going to tell the club what decisions weren't great, and then they should be reporting those ones.
I mean, if they paid me, I would have done it for them. Any football fan can tell you, in their opinion, if they think something was a penalty or not, or what have you. And it's all retrospective, isn't it? It's like, what impact has he had on, like that Liverpool one, for example, where the ref dropped the ball back to them when it should have been given to us?
Don't need to pay someone to tell. Don't need to pay someone to tell you that.
Exactly. And what changed on the pitch because he told the rules afterwards to, the powers to be? Nothing. So I thought it was farcical. However, Gary Neville can go and do one. Like when he thinks he can open his mouth and attack, him and Carragher with their track record, screw them. But I was glad he's gone, and surprisingly enough, he's gone, and we've had no VAR issues. So was there a conspiracy? Was there the PG LOL, as I call them? Were they out to get us because of Clattenburg? Who knows? You got your tinfoil hats on or not? For me, I think there was an element of that. Who do Forest think they are? Bringing this guy in, and I didn't like it. So I'm glad he's gone. I thought it was a waste of space, time, and money.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a strange one. It's definitely something you don't see clubs doing very often at all. And I mean, just a real strange story, really. In terms of the game itself, mate, how can Chelsea expect Forest to set up for this one?
So how I told you he's gone 4-2-3-1 religiously. That's his thing. He didn't do it against Man City. He went 3.
I think that was game specific, though.
That was game specific. That was the first time he's done it. And actually, I know it sounds stupid, but we could have at least drawn with Man City, if not beaten them. If Chris Wood puts in those open goal chances
in that game.
I think we had the highest XG against them that they've had all season, and they've had the lowest XG against an opponent all season. And that's for both matches we played against them. And I just have a feeling he's going to set up similar to Chelsea. He's going to see you as a similar style team, but not as obviously good as Man City in terms of the quality and where they are in their process. So I think logic dictates for me that he's going to set up in a 3-4-3, technically speaking, which is an unusual formation for him to use at Forest, but not one he's not used in the past. Double negative there, but you know what I mean. So I think that's what's going to happen. Where you can get at us, corners and dead balls. We're the worst team in the league on corners and dead balls. We've conceded about 23, 24, all from corners. We'd be so comfortable mid-table if we had a clue what to do when it came to defending a simple corner. We're
Probably should have got
shocking
yourself
at
a
it.
set piece coach instead of a ref analyst.
Oh, we got one, mate, and
They got
he's
one.
not. We got one. He's not being used. He's not even being used apparently. So it's a complete joke when it comes to dead balls. We would be nowhere near where we are, just down to basic stupidity and Matt Turner. So that's where we are. So if you want an easy way to do it, get your players to dive around the box, pick yourselves up a corner, take shots from long distance, just make sure they deflect for the corner. It's basically like hockey. If you get a corner against Forest, it's a penalty corner.
Yeah.
It's better than a penalty for you guys, trust me. So yeah, that's the best way you can get against us. However, you need to be careful about our counter attack. Elanga, who I think has underwhelmed this season. Early season, he was really on fire. You saw the goal he got against you. And he needs to rekindle that form. He looks like he's lost a yard of pace in recent games for me and a lot of confidence. But I still think we could get you on the counter attack if you overcommit.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think we are there. I was going to say we're there for the taking, but you will get. We do give up chances. Maybe not so much in the last couple of games, but over the course of the season, we have given up chances. We have conceded a club record amount of goals in the league this season. We can be got at. Like yourselves, our defensive fragilities from set pieces can be exposed. We're not great at defending dead ball situations, so that there's definitely an opportunity there, and obviously on the counter attack as well. So I think you will have opportunities. We have improved, but I do think this will be a closer game than perhaps many expect. Just briefly on Chelsea, who are the main concerns for you? I mean, obviously Cole Palmer is the guy that's getting all the plaudits right now. He's had a brilliant season, but I mean, outside of him, is there anyone else that you look at and you think we need to be a bit careful, or anyone else that's kind of impressed you?
Yeah, I mean, it goes without saying, Cole Palmer. I mean, bantered with you guys as Palmer FC at some points this season, so we don't need to dwell on him. Everyone knows how good he's been. I think for me, Gallagher doesn't get the credit he deserves.
He's been outstanding.
He's been outstanding, but I do hear rumblings and moanings from Chelsea fans at him. I'm shocked that he's linked to the likes of Spurs in the summer. I think he'd be stupid to let him go. I do rate him.
Yeah.
And for me, what's happened recently with Cucurella, the way he's inverted in, has really changed the way your midfield is playing. I think it looks more balanced. And who else? Madwecki. I've been impressed with him in the last few games.
He's done really well over the last 5 or 6 games. I think he surprised a lot of people.
But he always has that look. I don't know if that makes sense. He has that look that he has, there's a footballer in him.
Yeah.
Ever since I saw him, even at the start of the season, he was a little kind of inexperienced and what have you. But I think he's been decent. Obviously, I know we've discussed it before. Jackson, for me, he ain't the one, mate. If you had Nkuku up front, Nkuku, I think, is your best player still. But it's a shame we haven't seen him in the Premier League. I think
him and Palmer have started 2 games together all season.
Yeah. The other one who's, ever since he cut his hair, Mudryk, he looks a little better. I'm still not fully convinced on him.
He's got a lot of work to do still, but the raw attributes and the raw skill set is there. But I think it's like a lot of those players, they just need refining and developing. But I think it's that unpredictability with him that could cause issues.
Yeah, I don't know about your keeper either. I'm not sure. I haven't analyzed him or scrutinized him enough. I know he didn't start as your number one. It's the other.
No, he didn't. We had Sanchez in goal earlier in the season. So Sanchez was injured. Picked up a knee injury in December, and Petrovic has pretty much been in since. I think Sanchez played 1 game in the cup, and then I think he's been injured again. But Petrovic has been better than Sanchez. Again, he's done well. He coming from the MLS last summer. I don't know. He's not really. There's not been really any mistakes. I think for one of the Burnley goals, he was slightly at fault, and I think certainly he was beaten at the near post. One of the goals away at Sheffield United, which he probably could have done better with, but. On the whole, all things considered, he has done pretty well. Is he going to be a goalkeeper that wins Chelsea a title in years to come? I don't know on that situation.
I agree with that.
But in terms of getting back into the top 4, he's definitely good enough. And I wouldn't say that goalkeeper right now is a position that urgently needs to be looked at for us, which probably isn't. Which is not the case for you. You definitely need a new keeper.
Well, no, we're okay with Sells now because
Oh
Turner's
yeah, you got
been
Sells.
pitched.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sells has been.
Well,
He's similar.
that's from our feeder club.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he's been similar in what you said with Petrovic. That he's a steady Eddie, is how I'd describe him. And I can't, after having Turner in goal, for me, mate, that's fine by me. We can, if we need to address it in the summer. But I think he's okay. The other one for me, I think Chalobah's done okay since he's started working his way back in. Yeah, we were linked with him in the summer.
I think you put in a bid for him, 25 mil. Yeah, Chalobah's, since he's come back, Chalobah's started 10 Premier League games for us. We haven't lost a single one.
Interesting.
He's done very well. You know, he's got that versatility. He can play right back, centre back. Yeah, he's done well. But yeah, look, I think we have got obvious threats. You've got threats as well. Premier League away games are really tough. And this one's going to be no different. 5:30 kickoff. I would say under the lights, but we're coming into summer now, and it won't be under the lights. Yeah, mate, how are you seeing it going score-wise? Do you think you guys can, obviously, there might be a different feel around the ground depending on how the results go beforehand. But I mean, presuming you need to get something. I mean, what are you thinking for your last home game of the season? Do you think you can get something?
I do. Look, there's something with Forest this season is when we're playing the quote unquote big six teams, the players are up for it. And there's no team from the big six that have taken us to the cleaners this year at all. We've actually played well and just lost narrowly. This has a little bit of an element and similarity to what happened last year. Second last game of the season last year, we had Arsenal. If we won that, we were safe. We beat them 1-0. Which was crazy. So there could be scenes at the City Ground. However, as we've mentioned, if the Luton game goes our way, then there'll be scenes anyway. And I don't really care what happens on the pitch, as long as you don't go too crazy, because we're technically safe on goal difference. But I just think the players will be up for it. Let's assume we need something out of this game. The atmosphere, last game of the season, is going to be rocking. The players will 100% be up for it because it's a quote-unquote big six team. I think Forest will get something out of this. I'm not convinced we win it, but I can see a score draw, like a 1-1 or something. If Taiwo plays, he always causes you guys trouble.
Yeah, he always causes you trouble. Score against us. I think we'll continue our decent form and take another step potentially towards the top six. I think it'll be close. I'm going to go for a narrow 2-1 win. But yeah, it's going to be tight. It's going to be close. It's going to be, I think it should be a good game. Mate, thanks so much for your time as always. Great to catch up. Hopefully you guys do start so we can do this again next season. If the people want to check out more of what you guys do, where should they go?
Yeah, YouTube at Forest Fan TV. All your Forest stuff, all the banter. I mean, me and Charlie always have plenty of banter off air as well. So yeah, come check it out. We'll have watch along match reactions. If you want to see after the game it from a Forest perspective, hop along, and maybe it'll be a party stream.
Yeah,
come on, you hammers! I can't believe I'm saying that. Or irons, whatever they call themselves.
Yeah, guys, make sure you check that Forest Fan TV out. Loads of great content over there. It'll be tagged in the title. Just click on there. Go and show the guys some love. Smash the like, subscribe if you're new around here, and we'll catch you again in another one soon.